Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Untitled Reviews. Now, if I told you 6 months ago that Sony were going to start making some brilliant gaming headsets for PC specifically, then you probably would have laughed in my face. Well, I'm pleased to report that Sony have actually started making some excellent premium gaming headsets. In fact, they've made an entire range of them, 3 of them under their brand new Inzone brand, and we've got one of them to have a look at today. This is the Sony Inzone H7, which is the middle one between the wired H3 and one with noise cancelling in the H9. With it, you'll be getting 40mm drivers, spatial audio support, 40 hours of battery life, and oodles of software. At 199 quid or $230 for those in the US, it is quite expensive, and Sony are definitely targeting the upper echelons of the gaming headset world. But can that reputation deliver? Let's find out. Now, inside the box, it's fair to say you do get a fair bit for your money with the Inzone H7 itself, complete with USB wireless receiver, alongside a charging cable and a little cardboard box full of documentation. So, first things first, let's have a chat about design. Well, it's definitely fair to say that the Inzone H7 looks absolutely excellent. Sony have always had a knack for designing some brilliant audio products. I mean, take their brand new WH-1000XM5, which I'll put a little bit of a picture of on the screen now. You can see that the Inzone H7 borrows a fair few cues from those. Such as this kind of headband adjuster or shaft that kind of goes between the headband and the actual ear cups themselves. These look brilliant and are really one of the cleanest and most wonderful looking headsets I've had the pleasure of taking a look at, especially on this channel. It's also quite a well-made headset with these smooth plastics and this wonderful either leatherette padding, and then there's some fabric ear cups as well, which also combines to not only make these feel durable but also immensely comfortable. There's absolutely oodles of it. The fact that they aren't leatherette kind of, or leather ear cups as it were, is quite useful if you're going to be recording or using these, particularly in some hot weather. And also leather generally can make your ears sweat a little bit as it were, so these fabric ones, they also feel quite plush as well. They're absolutely brilliant. They don't feel like they're going to kind of break your skull, as it were. There's no real heavy clamping force here. They sit just right, as it were, and just right is kind of where Sony have gone with these Inzone headsets, and the H7 is a marvellous choice of these. I will say that they are quite weighty. 325 grams isn't the lightest set of cans in the world, but they're kind of just that mid-range weight where they're not too heavy to feel like they're going to clamp down your skull too much, and they're not too light to feel cheap either. And at 200 quid, I definitely wouldn't want a headset that felt cheap. All of the padding that I mentioned earlier that you can see there combines to create some of the best passive noise isolation that money will get you on a headset today. The higher priced H9, which comes in at about 260 quid, and provides you with active noise cancellation, the same as on the WH-1000XM5 headphones, so it will actively cancel out noise around you by kind of some noise sensing microphones, as it were, that are placed on the outside of the headset. The H7s lack the ANC, but what it makes up for it with the brilliant passive noise isolation that failed to let really any kind of noise in. I mean, I sit in a room and use these headphones usually with an open window because of how warm it gets, and the H7 blocked out every single piece of noise, from people playing outside the door to conversations and any music I actually happens to have on another speaker to test how good the noise isolation is. Multimedia controls here are kept remarkably easy. On the left one, you've got a game and chat button mixer, a Bluetooth toggle switch, a power button, and on the right you've got a USB-C port for charging, and also a volume wheel. Everything feels very textured and tactile, and it's nice to actually have some properly physical controls, where a lot of headphones, certainly in-ear ones, are moving to more kind of touch-oriented or even gesture controls sometimes, which aren't as accurate and offer you the same kind of level of precision, as it were. Also, just moving into talk a little bit about features, the H7 will work with both PC and PS5, and it's certainly clear to see where Sony has borrowed some of the PS5's own style for their new range of gaming headsets. You do get the bundled USB receiver in the box that I mentioned earlier. It's just a simple case of plugging that into whichever device you wish to, and these things will work basically seamlessly. There is a little toggle switch on the top of the receiver, so you can switch between the signal between PC and PS5, but as well as working via that USB receiver, these things will also work over Bluetooth, and connecting them up to use over your phone or any other Bluetooth connected device you wish to use these on, like a PC for instance, if you're using the receiver on something else, is seamless. It's all plug and play, and it's very good, and the signal quality itself is pretty good. There's going to be no real dropouts or latency with these. Also, just a small word about battery life. The Inzone H7s, Sony quotes them to last for around 40 hours or so, which would give you a working week's worth of gaming if you're using them 5 days a week for 8 hours or so. And in testing these for a few weeks, they definitely live up to that 40-hour claim. These are wonderful to use for a few weeks, and also that 40 hours is up there with some of the very best headsets that money can buy today. So Sony certainly haven't kind of slouched, as it were, on the Inzone H7's endurance. So, of course, it's all very well and good having a gaming headset that looks the part on the Inzone H7s and undoubtedly do with a more refined aesthetic, but it's no use having a gaming headset if it doesn't sound any good. And I'm pleased to say that Sony, given their reputation in audio, you'd expect really them to make one of the best sounding gaming headsets at this price that money can buy, and that certainly looks to be the case with the Inzone H7s. What you'll be getting here are some 40mm drivers that generally offer some quite refined audio that's also quite balanced and also offers plenty of detail. Nothing here is too overbearing, so the bass doesn't sound too muddy, the highs aren't too prominent, and there's a nice mid-range punch to these. Vocals here are also rather crisp, and you also get a pretty wide soundstage, which is great for more cinematic and immersive gaming experiences, and that can also be heightened with the fact that these headphones from Sony also support spatial audio. You will get support when using these with your PC with Windows Sonic, and of course using them with a PlayStation 5 reveals support for Sony's 3D audio, which is definitely one of the best in the business. Returning generally to the points about audio, while there is some nice balance to these, I did notice that there is a nice kind of low-end rumble. This thing does seem to be able to reach lower bass frequencies than other headsets. I mean, it's rated to go as low as 5 Hz, where others generally will only go to 20. So you will be getting some rather good sub-bass here as well, which is especially handy for FPS games, where you need to know about the rumble of grenades, and gunfire, particularly with these, sounded especially gritty, which was fantastic. So what about the microphone then? How does the Inzone H7 sound? Well, I'm pleased to say that you're listening to it right now, so I'm sure you can get a pretty good idea of what it sounds like from now I'm speaking. Headset microphones are never going to be as good as their more kind of traditional standalone counterparts, but generally have started to offer a little bit clearer comms as the years have gone by. This one isn't really too different from the competition though. There's some pretty good clarity though, although can be a little bit thin and crispy at times, as it were. Interesting thing to note about the Inzone H7 mic is not necessarily the sound quality and clarity itself, of which it's pretty decent, but the mechanism and the form it takes. You'll have noticed on the side of the headset that it's a general plastic, kind of nondescript plastic shaft, and it isn't a detachable one either. But what it is one of those clever flip to mute microphones that more manufacturers are starting to put on their headsets. So fundamentally, what this means is that you can flip the mic up and it will click back into place and it will be muted, so you won't have to worry about anything untoward being heard if you don't want it to be, which is also pretty handy. But if you do plan to use this for any content creation or streaming, just to know that this is only recording in mono. Some headsets are starting to record in stereo, which is rather handy indeed. And now just a small word about software before we get into the conclusion. The Inzone H7 does come with some. Sony have been kind enough to bundle their excellent Inzone hub with this headset. And fundamentally, it's a great piece of software. It's a little bit fiddly to get working, especially on Windows 11. You might have to kind of uninstall and reinstall things a few times. It kept coming up with a few driver errors when I tried to install it. But there's a really good amount of features here with the opportunity to fiddle with equalizers, personalized spatial audio, and you can even set up an auto power off feature if you're leaving the headset unattended for, say, 20 minutes to half an hour, and it will just turn off so you're not wasting valuable battery life, as it were. The thing is, just given that fiddly and pernickety installing process doesn't exactly leave the nicest aftertaste, as it were, so you may want to look out for another kind of more established headset manufacturer to get a better software-based experience. So, in conclusion, should you buy Sony's Inzone H7 headset? Well, certainly if you're somebody that's looking for a rather stylish and minimalistic looking headset, then you definitely won't be disappointed here. Sony have always had this reputation for creating some of the most wonderfully designed products over a period of decades now, and the Inzone H7s are no different. It just proves that modern minds can create something absolutely brilliant in an industry where headsets have always looked quite mean and sharp, and it's nice to see something certainly a lot cleaner. If you're somebody that wants some rather rich and refined audio as well, then the Inzone H7s certainly won't disappoint. There's plenty of balance here and nuance, and you'll definitely find something to like here, especially if you're after a little bit more of a bassy punch. And also, if you're somebody who wants the convenience of having dual connectivity or dual means of connectivity, this thing can work by both USB and also Bluetooth, so you won't be in the dark as to which devices the Inzone H7 can work on. And also, generally, if you're somebody that's looking for a PC or PS5 based headset upgrade, then the Inzone H7 should definitely be one to consider. Just watch out for the slightly iffy and thin and crispy microphone, and also you might have some issues with software if you're running Windows 11. But all in all, the Inzone H7 is an absolutely fantastic gaming headset. It's one that looks great, sounds great, and has some brilliant battery life to boot as well. So definitely a thumbs up, and one to pick up if you're in the market for a new gaming headset for your PC or PS5. Now, all that really remains to be said is that if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and of course subscribe to the channel, and to ring-a-ling-ding the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. To follow us on Twitter and indeed Instagram. Links should be appearing on the screen right about now. And also, down in the description, if you're interested, there'll be a link to the Untitled merchandise store that's hosted on Spring, where you can pick up all manner of t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, wall art, sweatshirts, pint glasses, and everything in between. It's all very good quality, and Spring ship worldwide, which is excellent. And also, if you like any of the kit that we feature in these videos, be it this wonderful Inzone H7 headset, I still can't get over how great it is, or any of the other myriads of other headsets, keyboards, mice, multimedia controllers, laptops, and everything in between that we've taken a look at over the last couple of years or so, then there'll be Amazon links down in the description to those respective videos, including this one, where you can pick all that kit up. So once again, thank you very much for watching.